I.S.U.P.K. 53rd Annual Lord Passover.
53rd Annual Lord's Passover is going to be held down here in Florida.
It's going down.
You're here tonight to get a chance to be righteous enough to be worthy of God coming to save you.
That's right.
It's going down. The Lord's 53rd Annual Passover.
When we say we no cowards, we stop that business. We no cowards up in here.
Book your hotels now at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, the IHG Hotel, 301 Tucker Lane, Cocoa Beach, Florida, 32926.
Comes with all your dishes, pots, and forks, knives.
I kind of like this. This is like an apartment, and a hotel. You know what I mean? This here, right here, about to be holy ground. It's going to be holy ground. All our beautiful, wonderful brothers and sisters from all over the world. You understand? We can boast that now. Brothers and sisters coming not only from every state, but from all over the world. I heard the numbers this year is ridiculous. We had to buy out the whole hotel.
Friday, April 15th at the Space Coast Convention Center.
My camp undefeated. You cannot debate. You just want the clout. We just want the grades. I'm just trying to get it.
This is going to be glorious.
We don't give a fuck. You can see it in our faces. Got it out the mud. Straight up out the base.
Kwasha ban Yahanna ban Yashala.
Kwasha ban Yahanna ban Yashala.
Yabashim Yasha Braktham.
Yahabashim Yasha Braktham. Okay.
La Yashala.
Imagine, which means to stand. Wapa Yahanna, which means turn the face to east. We'll do the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Repeat after me. Without the curses. All right, go ahead. Avanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakus Ka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, I.S.U.P.K, Baal Ratazah, Kawak, Hayah, Bashemayim, Nefalanaw, Lakam, Ka, Yawam, Wasalakanaw, Kawabaknaw, Kasalaknaw, Kawabaknaw, Wala'ah, Tabi'anaw, Bonasai One, Abal, Harashana, Mayan, Rad, Kayat, Lakat, Hamalakwa, Waha'aw, Wahatapar, the I will love you, Aman. which art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. So be it. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Kushah, Nathalanah, Hakak, La Pa'a, Kamadullah, Wakam Marawa, Hakak, Natahar, Hamatazariah, Hakak, Lahapia, Hamafia, Hakak, Arakawa, Hatama Allah, Lagarashan, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Wadamah. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the leper, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits to cast them out. In the name of Yahweh, thank you. So be it. We'll do Psalms 121. Asha'a, Ayanya, Ahahaya, Ma'ayan, Yaba'a, Isaiah, Ma'ai, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemaiah, Wa'arataza, Ayathan, Lamawat, Regalka, Alanawam, Shamar, Hana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayashan, Shawamar, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shamar, Yahweh, Tazal, Al-Yad, Yamyaka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a, Yakak, Wayarak, Walayala, Yahweh, Yashamar, Makara, Yashamar, After Yahweh, Yashamar, Tazafka, Wawaka, Ma'aika, Wa'ai Awalam,
I will lift up my eyes unto the hills.
I will lift up my eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh,
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. So be it. We'll do Psalms 83. Alahayim. The Mayalaka. Al-Takarat. Wa'al. Tashakwat. Kaya. Hana. Awayatnika. Yahanna Yawan. Wamashanayaka. Nasha'awa. Ra'ash. Al-Amaka. Ya'ara Yamwa. So why? Why you think your itis are what? Out as a punyaka. Amaru. Lakawa. When a cockina. Magalia. Wala'a. Yazakar. Shem Yasha'ala. Iwa. Kaya. Now what itis are what? La. Yakadwa. Al Yakab. Waya. Yakarathwa. Ahaya. Adawam. Wa Yashma'ayah. Mawa'aba. Wahagari. Gabal. Wa'amawan. Wa'amalak. Halashaf. Anyashabia. Tazawar. Gam Ashawar. Nalawa. Amam. Hayawa. Sarawat. Labanya. Lawat. Salah. Aisha. Laham. Kamadian. Kasayasara. Kayabin, Balakal, Koyashwan, Nashamagwa, Bayan, Da'ara, Hayawa, Damam, La Adama, Shayatamwa, it's lucky, not the Yabwa, Kaira, Wakaza Abba, Wakaza Bak, Wakata Zalmanai, Nasa Nasi Akamwa,
Nasi-Akamwa,
Ashar,
Ashar,
Amaru,
Amaru,
Na Yarasha,
Nayarusha,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Na'awa,
Nawa,
Alahaya,
Alahai,
Alahaya,
Alahai,
Shayatamwa,
Shayatamwa,
Kakagagla,
Kakagagla,
Kakwash,
Kakwash,
Lapanya,
Lapanya,
Rakah,
Rakah,
Ka'ash,
Ka'ash,
Taba'ira,
Taba'ira,
Ya'ira,
Ya'ira,
Wakala
Wakala-Haba,
Talahat,
Talahat,
Hayam,
Hayam,
Khan,
Khan,
Daradakla,
Daradakla,
Basa'irika,
Basa'irika,
Wabaso Pafka,
Wabasa,
Tahalam,
Tahalam,
Mala'ah,
Mala'ah,
Hanyaham,
Hanyaham,
Kwalawar,
Kwalawar,
Wayabakwashwa,
Wayabakwashwa,
Shimka,
Shimka,
Yahawa,
Yahawa,
Yabashwa,
Wabash,
Wayabahawa,
Wayabahawa,
Ayai,
Ayai,
Wayakaparwa,
Wayakaparu,
Wayabadwa,
Wayabadwa,
Wayadaiwa,
Wayadaiwa,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Asa,
Asa,
Shimka,
Shimka,
Yahawa,
Yahawa,
Labaka,
Labaka,
Al-Yawan,
Al-Yawan,
Al-Kab,
Al-Kab,
Kal-Ratiza,
Al-Ratiza,
Aman.
Aman. Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still.
And be not still.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
For
For lo,
thy enemies.
thy enemies
Make a tumult.
make a tumult.
They that hate thee.
And they that hate
have
thee
lifted up the head.
have lifted up the
They
head.
have taken crafty counsel.
They have taken crafty counsel
Against thy people.
against thy people.
Consulted.
They have consulted
Against thy hidden one.
against thy hidden.
They have said.
Come,
Let us cut them off.
let us cut them off from being a nation. At the name of Israel shall be no more remembered.
They have consulted together with one consent.
They have consulted together with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of Edom and the Israelites of Moab, Magarim, Gabal and Ammon, Amalek and Philistines, and the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah.
Do unto them
As unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, and the brook of Kishon, which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Oreb.
Make their nobles like Oreb, like Zeb.
Yea, all their princes.
Yea, all their princes, as Zabah, as Salmuna,
Who
who said,
let us take to ourselves.
let us take to
The
ourselves
house of Yahweh in possession.
the houses of Yahweh in possession.
Oh my power.
Oh, my power.
Make them like a wheel.
Make them like a wheel,
As a stubble for the wind.
as the fire burneth the wood,
As the flame set the mountains on fire.
as the flames set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them.
So persecute them with thy tempest. Make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame,
That they may seek thy name.
that they may seek thy name, O Yahweh.
Let them be confounded.
Let them be confounded
And trouble forever.
Yea,
Let them be put to shame.
let them be put to shame
And
and perish,
that men may know
that men may know
that thou,
whose name alone is Yahweh, the Most High, over all the earth. So be it. We'll do the power structure, the blessings. Barakatah Yahweh. Wa Yahweh Shah. Wa Mayaka Allah. Wa Alahaya. Batazabaya. Alawak Yahanna. Ha Alawak. Ha Suranya. Ha Kwatazayamya. Ha Kalayoya. Wa Ha Wafya. Yahweh. Wa Hashem. Yahweh Shah. The water Aman. Bless you, Yahweh. And Yahweh Shah. And Michael. And the angels. The manager Yahanna. The general. The captains. The officers. The troopers. And the sisters. Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh Shah. Thank you. So be it. You have a seat. Minister Israel up here. Saul. You have a seat. Sister, you have a seat. Come, cuz.
Most High Christ. All right, so we're gonna continue our reading. We left off last time in the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 17. We're gonna finish off chapter 17, starting in verse 39. Is that right? 39. And we're gonna go from 39 to 45. But Parsha's gonna be up here. He's gonna be doing the bulk of the reading as we are on demand for the first time in a while. Huh? Okay. So So we're gonna do Kazak. We're gonna switch back and forth between you and Wakasha for the Hebrew. Wakasha will do all the English reading. All right. So 17 verse 39. Just right there.
First Samuel 17 and 39. Wayakad Gadar. Wayakagar. Dawada. Atha. Karbawa. Karabwa. Ma'al. Lamadyawa. Waya'al. Lalaka. Kaya. La'a. Nasapa. Waya'amar. Dawada. Al. Sha'awal. La'a. Awakala. Balakath. Ba'alia. Kaya. La'a. Nasayatha. Wayasaram. Dawada. Ma'aliyawa. Verse 40. Makwalawa. Bayadawa. Wayabakar. Lawa. Kamashaha. Kalakwaya. Abanyam. Mana. Hanakala. Wayashima. Atham. Bakalia. Hawarayam. Ashar. Lawa. Wabaya. Wabaya Laqua. What? Wakwal La'aiwa. Bayadwa. Wayagash. Al. Hapal Shatha. 41. Wayalak. Hapal Shatha. Halak. Wakwaraba. Wakorab. Al. Dawada. Waha al Yash. Nisha. Hatazayan. Hatazanaha. Lapanyawa. 42. Wayabata. Wayabat. Hapal Shathaya. Hapal Shafia. Wayar Aha. Ath. Dawada. Wayab. Zahawa. Kaya. Hayaha. Naira. Wa'ad. Wa'ab. Manaya. I'm. Yapaha. Maraha. 43. Wayamar. Hapal Shathaya. Al Dawada. Yakalab. Hakalab. So, Anakaya. Kaya. Athaha. Ba'a. Alia. Bamakwala Yath.
What?
It's like Bala Kama Wath. Wayakalau. Yapal Shathaya. Hapal La Shathaya. Ath Dawada. Baal Yahayawa. 44. Wayamar. Hapal Shathaya. Al Dawada. Lakaha. Alia. Wayathanha. Atha. Basharka. La'ai-Wapa. Hasham Yam. Walab Hamtha. Hashadaha. 45. Waya Dawada. Al Hapalshatha. Athaha. Ba'a. Alia. Bakwaba. Bakarab. Wabakanyath. Wabak Yadawan. Wa'an Kaya. Ba'a. Alyaka. Basham. Yahweh. Tezabayath. Alhaya. Ma'iraka Wath. Yashara'al. Ashar. Karapath.
Sound correct. All right, go ahead and read that in English.
It's 1 Samuel 17 and 39. And David girded up his sword unto his armor, and he swayed to go, and he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off. Verse 40. And he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook. And put
so
them.
This is David getting ready to go and fight with Goliath. Right. So just to catch you up as to what's going on here. Go ahead.
And put them in the shepherd's bag, which he had even in his scrip. And his sling was in his hand, and he drew near the Philistines. 41. And the Philistines came on and drew near unto David. And the man that bare the shield went before him. 42. And when the Philistines looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was a youth and a ruddy.
So if you read back, basically Goliath is basically berating the Israelites because he wants to fight somebody. You know what I'm saying? This was very common. This was not no cowardly fights where you just sit in a plane and drop bombs on people. Right. You have to actually go out there and do the work. Right. So he challenged somebody to come forward and fight him, and he was very offended when he saw who they sent out. because this was a young man, not a seasoned warrior like Goliath, who's renowned for killing. Right? This is a young man who nobody knew, did not have the fame that Goliath was looking for. Right? Go ahead.
Oh God. For he was but a youth and ruddy and of a fair countenance. 43. And
that's like saying, who's this pretty boy you're sent to fight with?
Right.
And say, I want you a killer, your top killer. I want to prove myself because I'm Goliath. Right. Nobody's gonna praise me if I kill this young boy. You understand? He's looking for praise. Right. Right. Go ahead.
Verse 43. And the Philistine said unto David, I am a dog. Am I a dog that thou comest to me with staves? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods.
Read that again.
Verse 43. And the Philistine said unto David.
The Philistine being Goliath, right? He said this to David. Go ahead.
Am I a dog that thou comest to me with staves?
With what?
With staves. S-T-A-V-E-Z.
Staffs.
Staffs.
You understand? Because that's what you come up with to a dog. That's how you kind of shepherd a dog or control a dog with a staff. So David had a staff in his hand. So he says, where's your sword? Am I a dog? That's you come. Not only are you a young buck, but you're insulting me now by coming to fight me with a staff. Go ahead.
And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. And the verse 44, and the Philistine said to David,
which is the wrong thing to do, by the way. If you're a heathen, you get ready to go up against a man who has faith in the Lord, and you want to curse that man by your gods. Now you really put your God against his God now. Right? Go ahead.
Right. Come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air and to the beasts of the fields.
Right. Go ahead. 45.
Then David said to the Philistines, thou comest to me with a sword and with a spear and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts and the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied.
That's it. That's right there. That's the attitude you gotta have when you're dealing with the word. No matter what it is, you have to understand who you serve. You understand? The whole purpose of any warfare or battle, anything, whether it be at your slavery or anything, is for you to remember who you serve. Right. That's the whole. Even if it looks bleak, you know, your job is when it's read. If it was read in history, it has to be read like this, where your faith is in your God. Right. What was the obstacle? What's in front of you? Right. You know what? Macho. Let me present yourself. We'll do it here now.
Tamiyam ban lawyer ban yashab. Tamiyam ban lawyer ban yashab.
Tamiyam ban lawyer ban yashab.
Yahweh Shim Yashab Rakata.
Yahweh Shim Yashab Rakata.
Shabbat. Because like you don't need the Hebrew, right? Come on, you need to come on.
First Samuel chapter 17, verse 46. Hayawam, Hazah, Yasavaraka, Yahweh, Bayadya, Waha Kayathka, Waha Sarathya, Af, Ra'ashka, Ma'alyaka, Wanathaya, Pagar, Makanah, Palashathium, Hayawam, Hazah, La'awak, Hashemayim, Walakayas, Ha'arataza, Wayadawa, Ka, Ha'arataza, Kayak, Yesha, Alahayim, La Yasha Allah, verse 47. Wayadawa, Ka, Hakwahal, Hazak, Kayak, La'ab, Bakarah, Wabaknayath, Yahweh Shayah, Yahweh Kayak, La Yahweh, Hamalakma, Wanathan, Athakam, Bayadnawa, verse 48. Wahaya, Kayak, Kwam, Hapalashathia, Wayalak, Wayakora, La Koraath, Dawadat, Waya Mahar, Dawada, Waya Rataza, Hamairaka, La Koraath, Hapalashathia, verse 49. Waya Shalak, Dawada, Ath, Yadwa, Al, Hakalia, Wayakwak, Masham, Aban, Wayakwala, Wayak, Ath, Hapalashathia, Al, Matazakwa, Watatabai, Ha'aban, Bamatazakwa, Wayapala, Al, Panyawa, Arataza, verse 50. Wayakazak, Dawada, Maz, Hapalashathia, Bakwala, Waba'aban, Wayak, Af, Hapalashathia, Wayam Tower, Wakora, Ayan, Bayad, Dawada, verse 51. Wayarataza, Dawada, Wayamad, Al, Hapalashathia, Wayakwak, Af, Karabwa, Wayashlapa, Mathaira, Wayamathtahawa, Wayakarath, Baha, Af, Ra'ashwa, Wayara'awa, Hapalashathium, Kaya, Matha, Gabawarim, Wayanasawa, verse 52, Wayakwamwa, Anashia, Yasha'ala, Wayahawadam, Wayaraiwa, Wayaradpawa, Af, Hapalashathium, I, Bawa'aka, Gaya'a, Wa'ai, Sha'iria, Iprawan, Wayapalawa, Kalalia, Palashathium, Badarak, Sha'iria.
Most High in Christ. Now I'm going to read in the English, verse 46 through 52.
1 Samuel 17, verse 46. This day will the Lord deliver thee in my hand, and I will smite thee, and take thy hand, the head from thee.
Notice how David, from the jump, is already giving the honor and the praise to the Lord. Right. So the Lord will do it, and that's the approach you got to have. Because right now, in his mind, what's he doing? He's handling the Lord's business. Right. This is not his own personal beef. He don't even know the savage. You know what I'm saying? Right. He's handling the Lord's business. Go ahead.
Oh, God. And I will give thy carcass and the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, and the wild beasts of the earth, and that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel.
That's the point you want to prove in captivity. No matter how bad it looks, you have to show the world that there is a God in Israel. Right. You understand? That's how you got to carry yourself. Go ahead.
Verse 47. All this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with the sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's. Right. And he will give you unto our hands. And it comes to pass, when the Philistine arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, that David hasted and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine.
Now, in the whole approach, King David was not lazy in this. Right. And so this is not where, I'm going to put my faith in the Lord and Jesus take the wheel. Right. Understand? Jesus is not taking the wheel here. King David had to put in the work, and the Lord would prove to be with him. Go ahead.
Verse 49. And David put his hand in his bag and took thence a stone and slung it and smite the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon his face to the earth. Verse 50. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smite the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Verse 51. Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine. Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine and took his sword and drew it out of the sheath thereof and slew him and cut off his head.
So King David used Goliath's own sword at that point, because King David didn't go to that battle with the sword. Right. And Goliath was even offended that David didn't have a sword to come and meet him. Right. Lo and behold, he used his own sword to take off his head. Go ahead.
And when the Philistines saw that champion was dead, they fled. verse 52. Verse 52. And the men of Israel and of Judah arose and shouted and pursued the Philistines until thou come to the valley and to the gates of Ekron. And the wounded of the Philistines fell down, but the wounded of the Philistines fell down by the way of Sharon.
And that's very important to understand too. Like sometimes the brothers and sisters behind you may need to see your faith in order for them to gain the faith. Right. For them to get strong. The Philistines, they were standing behind Goliath. That was their faith. That was their stronghold. So you can't cower with everybody else. You have to really stand up so that the people behind you will have courage also. Right. Understand? Go ahead.
Even unto Gath and unto Ekron.
Most high in Christ.
Right.
Imagine. I will watch you think yourself.
I reward you, Bangad. I reward you, Bangad. Banya Shalom.
I will buy you Bangad, Banyashala.
Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatah.
Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatah.
Shabia.
We have 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 53. Wayeshabwa, Benaiah, Yasha'ala, Madalak, Akariah, Palashathia, Wayashawa, Makanayaham. Verse 54. Wayakwak, Dawodah, Ra'ash, Hapalashathia, Wayaba'ahwa, Yara Washalam, Wa'ath, Kalayawa, Sham, Ba'ahalawa. Verse 55. Wakara Awath, Sha'awal, Dawodah, Yatazah, Lakura'ath, Hapalashathia, Amar, Abanar, Shar, Hatazaba, Bun, Maya, Zaha, Hanaira, Abanar, Waya Amar, Abanar, Kaya, Napashak, Hamalak, Amar, Yedaiah. Verse 56. Waya Amar, Hamalak, Sha'al, Athar, Bun, Maya, Zaha, Ha'alam. Verse 57. Wakashawa, Dawadah, Mahakawath, Hapalashathia, Wayakwak, Athwa, Abanar, Wayaba'ahawa, Lapanya, Sha'awal, Wawarash, Hapalashathia, Bayadwa. Verse 58. Waya Amar, Alyawa, Sha'awal, Bun, Maya, Athar, Hanaira, Waya Amar, Dawadah, Bun Ibadka, Yeshaya, Bayath, Halakmaya. 1 Samuel 18, verse 1. Wayahaya, Kakathawa, Ladabar, Al, Sha'awal, Wanapash, Yahweh Nathan, Nakwashara, Banapash, Dawadah, Wayaahabawa, Yahweh Nathan, Kanapashwa.
You're gonna go ahead read it in English now. 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 53 to 1 Samuel 18, verse 1.
1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 53.
And the children of Israel returned from chasing after the Philistines, and they spoiled their tents. 54. And David took the head of the Philistine and brought it to Jerusalem. But he put his armor in his tent. And when Saul saw David go forth against the Philistine, he said unto Abner, the captain of the host, Abner, whose son is this youth? And Abner said, Is thy soul liveth, O king? I cannot tell. Verse 56. And the king said, Inquire thou whose son the trifling is. 57. And as David returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, Abner took him and brought him before Saul with the head of the Philistine in his hand. And Saul said to him, Whose son art thou, thou young man? And David answered.
And this is very important to understand. Back then, it's coming back again. Back then, who your father was very important. Right. Understand? Now, like, it's by design that most black men and women don't know their fathers. But back then it was traditional. Like, when you're impressed with a young man, you ask him, whose son are you? Because you want to know what stock he comes from. Right. You understand? Because he's giving his father honor. That's why. Right? Go ahead.
Come. And David answered, I am the son of thy servant Jesse, the Bethlehemite. Mm-hmm. Chapter 18, 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 1. And it came to pass, when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul.
Right. Became brothers instantly. You understand? You see a young brother with the same spirit as you, a warrior's mentality. You say, from now on, you're my right hand. Right. Most people who became friends, like in school, as young as elementary or high school, you run into a brother and that's your best friend from there on. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing happening here. Right? I'm up here on you. I'm out you. Okay. I'll show you. Present yourself. Okay.
Kwasha ban Yahanna ban Yashala.
Kwasha ban Yahanna ban Yashala.
Yahweh Shem Yahshua Brakatham.
Yahweh Shem Yahshua Brakatham.
We are now in 1 Samuel chapter 18. We're going to go from 2 through 8.
Come. Wayakwakwaha. Sha'awal. Bayawan. Hahawa. Wala'a. Nathanwa. Lashawa. Bayath. Abayawa. Verse 3. Wayakwartha. Yahawantha. Yahawayanthan. Yahaya Nathan. Wadawada. Barayath. Habathwa, Athawa, Pashawa. Verse 4. Wayath Pashat, Yahawan Thun, Ath, Hamai, Yah, Ashar, Ilowa, Al,
Yawa, Wayath Nahawa, La Dawada, Wamadyam, Wamad Yawa, Wa'id, Karbawa, Wa'id, Kwashafwa, Wa'id, Kagarwa, verse 5. Wayataza, Dawada, Bakal, Ashar, Yashal Kanwa, Wa Sha'awal, Yashak Yal, Wayashamar Hawa, Wa Sha'awal, Al Anshaya, Ham Lakamha, Waya Yatab, Ba'ayan, Slakia, Ba'ayanya, Kal, Ha'aim, Wagam, Ba'ayanya, Ibadiah, Shawal. That was verse 5. Go to 8. Talmud. Wayahaya, Baba Wa'am, Bashayawa, Ba Shawab, Dawada, Mahakwath, Af Hapal Shathaya, Wayath Tezahah, Waha Tezahan Ya, Watha Tezahan Ya, Hanashiyam, Makal, Arya, Yasharala, Lashawar, Waham, Kalawath, Laquar Af, Shawal, Hamalak, Bathak Yam, Basham Kaha, Wabash Lashayam, verse 7. Wathain Yanha, Han Shayam, Ham Shakwat, Watha, Watha Run, Haka, Sha'awal, Baal, Pawa, Wada, Bathawa, verse 8. Wayakar, Lashawal, Ma'ad, Wayarai, Ba'ai Yanya, Ba'ai Yanyawa, Hadabar, Hazaha, Wayamar, Nathanwa, Ladawada, Rabah Bawath,
Walaya, Nathanwa, Ha'al, Payam, Wa'ai Wad, Lawa, Aka, Hamlawaka.
English now, verses 2 through 8.
Verse 2, 1 Samuel 18:2. And Saul took him that day and went with him and would let him go no more home to his father's house. Verse 3, then Jonathan and David made a covenant because he loved him with his own soul. Verse 4, and Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him and gave it to David, and his garments, even to his sword, and to his bow, and to his girdle. Verse 5, and David went out with it, so Saul sent him and behaved himself wisely. And Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants. Verse 6, and it came to pass as they came when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistines, that the women came out of the cities of Israel singing and dancing.
This part is very important. Understand that you do not start to hate your brother because of what you hear. This is very prominent in social media, and where rumors and so forth happen, right? And this is what's going to happen to Saul here. So the women are happy that King David had this victory. So of course they're singing, right? This is what they're saying. Go ahead.
To beat King Saul with tambourines, with joy, and with instruments of music. Verse 7. And the women answered one another as they played and said, Saul hath slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s. Verse 8. And Saul was very wroth, and the saying displeased him.
So when King David, when Saul heard the song was basically saying Saul has slain his 1,000 and David his 10,000. So they're giving David more credit here, And as a man of high rank, Saul expects all the credit. So that was the issue there. He was very wroth. He was upset. Go ahead.
And he said, they have ascribed unto David 10,000, and to me have ascribed but thousands. And what can he have more but the kingdom?
So what? Read the last part.
And what can he have more but the kingdom?
So basically, he's saying, well, you might as well give him the kingdom. That's next. If you're going to give him more honor than me, then you're going to give him the kingdom next. Right? Men up here only. Margin. Yahanna, present yourself. Yahanna Kaya.
Yahanna Kaya.
Bun Yahanna.
Ban Yahanna.
Bun Yasha'ala.
Ban Yasha'ala.
Bun Yasha'ala.
Ban Yasha'ala.
Yasha'ala.
Ban
Yasha'ala. So basically what you just said is Yahanna Kaya, which is your name, son of Judah, son of Israel.
Kind one kind.
Amajim Shabbat. Amajim. Barak.
Yahweh Barashim, Yahweh Barashim, Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
Well, hold on. So when you're in multiple people, it's Yahweh Barashim Shai Barakatah.
Kind one kind.
Ta is singular. So one more time.
Yahweh Barashim, Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
Yahweh Barashim Yahweh Shai Barakatah. The Shabbat, which means be seated. Because I can go ahead and take a reading from here. We're going short of where you ask you so you can follow. We're going from Psalms 9 through 15. So then you tablet this and follow the tablet. I know when you read from right to left.
First Samuel 9, First Samuel 18, 9 to 15.
Yeah.
So yeah, right here.
So you see. Try your best to follow along. Go ahead, because
Come with First Samuel chapter 9, verse 15.
18,
verse 18, verse 9.
Wayahaya, Sha'awal, I1, Ath, Dawada, Mahayawan, Hahawa'a, Wahala'aha. Verse 10. Wayahaya, Mamakurath, Wathatazalak, Rawak, Alahaya, Ra'aim, Ab, Sha'awal, Wayathanaba, Bathwaka, Habayath, Wadawada, Managan, Bayadwa, Kayawam, Bayawam, Wahakanayath, Bayad, Sha'awal, verse 11. Wayata, Sha'awal, Ath, Hakanayath, Waya Amal, Aka, Badawada, Wabakwaya, Wayasa, Dawada, Mapan Yawa, Pa'amayam, verse 12. Wayara'a, Sha'awal, Malapanya, Dawada, Kaya, Haya, Yahawah, Imawa, Wama'ain, Sha'awal, Saw, Wayasahwa, Sha'awal, Ma'aimawa, Wayashamhawa, Lawa, Shah, Alak, Wayataza'a, Wayaba'a, Lapanya, Ha'an, verse 14. Wayahaya, Dawada, Lakab, Doratazawa, Mashakaya, Wayahawa, Imawa, verse 15. Wayara'a, Sha'awal, Ashar, Hawa'a, Mashakaya, Ma'ad, Wayagad, Mapanyawa, verse 16. Waka, Yasha'ala, Wayahawada. Yeah, kind of like that's it.
That's the most high verse. We're gonna go ahead and read in the English. We're gonna start at verse 9.
Con 1 con. 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 9. And saw I David from that day and forward. And 10. And it came to pass.
Verse 9 again.
And saw I David from that day and forward.
What does it mean? Saw I David. So Saul kept an eye on him from that moment. You know what I'm saying? So he went from being this hero and somebody who's glorious in Saul's eyes, and somebody who would not let go home to his father because he loved him so much, to somebody he's watching now. Right. And so that's how quickly it can change. Off what? Words. Right? Go ahead.
1 Samuel, verse 10. And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from God came upon Saul.
Here we go. Go ahead.
And prophesied in the midst of the house. And David played with his hand as at other times, and there was a javelin in Saul's hand.
Good.
Verse 11. And Saul cast the javelin, for he said, I will smite David, even to the wall with it. And David avoided out of presence twice.
So Saul tried to kill David twice now by pinning him through the wall with a javelin. Go ahead.
Sir, if I may. Is this when David was on the run?
No, he's not on the run yet. He is in the house of Saul, and because Saul invited him to stay. Right. But now the demons is messing with David, with Saul. The demons is in his head, and he's telling him that this guy's trying to take a kingship. Right. Saul knows. By the way, Saul knows that he's going to lose his kingship. How does he know? The Lord told him. So he's saying to himself, "This is the guy. This is who's going to take my kingship from me. I'm going to kill him." Go ahead, sis.
So when they say the evil spirit from God, or either I think a couple chapters back it said God put an evil spirit on Saul, are those demons?
That is it.
Okay.
That is it. That's the demons.
Okay.
That's those who go and do God's will.
That's right.
Okay.
So the Lord gives them instructions to go and do something, and they did acting a fool in the house.
Right.
They're all under the Lord's control. You understand? Christians hate to see this because they say, no, God could never do that. But the Lord put that deep. Everybody's under the Lord's control, either to bless you or to harm you. You understand? And at this point, Saul is proven to be an enemy of the Lord. So Saul wants him out. I mean, the Lord wants him out of that position. And the Lord's going to send the demons to get him out of that position. You understand? Go ahead.
First Samuel.
That same scripture that the sister mentioned, as far as him prophesying, does that equate to what you mentioned as far as how Saul was saying that he's going to lose his kingdom?
Right. It was making it clear to him he's going to lose it. He knows he's going to lose his kingship. So from the time that Samuel told him he was going to lose his kingship, he was looking for who's going to take it. Right. He's like, who's going to take it? Because he knows the Lord said it. And you have to imagine in the meantime, what he's trying to do, he's trying to prove to the Lord he should keep it. You understand? He's trying to prove to the Lord. So when he sees a victory by David killing Goliath, at first he's thinking, okay, the Lord's with me again. The Lord is with me. And when he heard the song, he realized this might be the person who's coming to take my kingship.
Right.
You understand? And it's very important to understand when it comes to brotherhood. When you see brothers getting rank raises, right. You understand? Be careful of your spirit. Right. Be very careful of your spirit. Because it might put a demon. You don't invite no demon into your life to come and test to see if you belong in here. Because that's what it's going to be about. Does he belong in the school? Right. You know, that spirit's going to has pushed many men out of the school.
Right.
Understand? Go ahead.
First Samuel, verse 12. And Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with him and was departed from Saul. Right. 13. Therefore Saul removed him from him and made him his captain over 1,000, and he went out and came in before the people.
Read again.
Therefore Saul removed him from and made him his captain over 1,000, and he went out and came in before the people.
Right. 14.
And David behaved himself wisely in all his ways, and the Lord was with him.
David behaved himself wisely, so David knew where he was at. David realized this man tried to kill me twice, so I better be careful. Right. That's why he says he behaved himself wisely. You know, and the Lord was with him, meaning the Lord was protecting him. Right?
Right. First Samuel, verse 15. Wherefore, when Saul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he was afraid of him.
So now when Saul saw that he was behaving himself wisely, meaning that Saul the whole time, anytime a brother has a problem with somebody, what he's trying to do, he's trying to show to the people that you're wicked.
Right.
But because he was behaving wisely, he said, man, this brother's taking precaution. He's not giving me opportunity to accuse him. Right. Which is what you have to do in this case. That's the end. You have to not give anybody opportunity to make you look like you're the bad guy, and he has an ulterior motive. All right, and that was that on that. Man up here only Amaja. Barak, present yourself.
Barak Banya Hawada Banya Sa'ala.
Barak Banya Hawada Banya Sa'ala.
Yahba Sim Yahwa Shah Barakatam.
Yahweh Sim Yahwa Shah Barakatam.
Because you're gonna read it, right? These are games we bring short time.
Come on,
we shot the slot.
1 Samuel 18, 16 through 22.
Okay. 18, 16, and 22. Because I'm gonna take it.
Come on, 16. Wakal, it's like it. 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 16. Wakal, Yasha'ala, Wa Yahawada, Ahab, Ath, Dawada, Kaya, Hawa'a, Yawata, it's like it. Yawataza'a, Waba'a, Lapanyaham, verse 17. Waya Amar, Sha'awal, Al, Dawada, Hana, Bathia, Hagad Wallaha, Murad, Atha, Athan, Laka,
La Asha, Aka, Haya, Laya, Laban, Kayal, Wahalakam, Malak Mawath, Yahweh, Washawal, Amal, Al, Sahaya, Yedaya, Bawa, Wathahaya, Bawa, Yad, Palashathium, verse 18. Waya Amal, Dawada, Al, Shawal, Maya, Anakaya, Wamaya, Kayaya, Mashapakath, Abaya, Bayasha'ala, Kaya, Ahaya, Kathan, La Malak, verse 19. Wayahaya, Ba'aith, Fath, Ath, Morab, Bathar, Shawal, La Dawada, Wahaya, Nathana, La'ai Daraya, Hamakaltiya, La'asha, verse 20. Watha Ahab, Mayakal, Bath, Shawal, Ath, Dawada, Wayagadwa, La Shawal, Wayashar, Hadabar, Ba'ayan Yahuwah. Verse 21. Waya Amal, Shawal, Athanana, Lawa, Wathahaya, Lawa, Lama Wakwash, Wathahaya, Bawa, Yad, Pashathium, Waya Amal, Shawal, Al, Dawada, Bashathayam, Kathan, Baya, Hayawam, verse 22. Wayatazawa, Shawal, Ath, Ibadwa, Dabarwa, Al, Dawada, Balat, La'amar, Hanaf, Kapataza, Baka, Hamalat, Wakal, Ibadyawa, Ahabawak, Wa'itha, Hathakanat, Hatha, Kathan, Babalak.
I have a question. Has there been any instances of where the king or the person in charge killed their successor, like with King Saul in Israel, where he didn't have to kill him because whenever there was someone to take their place, the Most High killed him. Right. Has there did he have he just wanted to kill him? King Saul.
Well, King Saul knew that was his replacement. He saw it. You understand? His issue is he started to realize that he knew that the Lord was going to send somebody to replace him. Right. When he heard the song and how the people loved King David, that's when he said, "Okay, this is the person," and he started to hate him. So you don't have instances where people would king to kill and become king, because that's never how it worked. You never kill somebody to become somebody in Israel. Even when King David had the chance to kill Saul, he didn't kill Saul. Right. Even though who was promised the kingship already. How'd I tell you good? Yeah, go ahead. Pasha, go over, please. All right. And Kazak, we're gonna save that next verse, that next one for next week. Come on, right? We run up in time. As you know, we have major council today. Right, we have major council today, so we have to cut it short today. So we have 7 verses that we'll save for next week. Barak, go ahead and read verse 16 to 22.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 18, verse 16.
But all Israel and Judah loved David, because he went out and came in before them. And Saul said to David, behold, my elder daughter Merab, her will I give to thee to wife. Only be thou valiant for him, and fight the Lord's battles. For Saul said, let not mine hand be upon him, but let the hand of the Philistines be upon him.
So Saul's now scheming. Right. He's saying, you know what? I can't kill this man because the people love him. You understand? The people love him, so I can't touch him. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to send him to battle. Since he likes to fight, I'm going to send him to fight, and he's going to die at the hand of the Philistines. Right? So he's making King David a promise. Say, you know what? I'm going to send you to a few battles. When you win these battles, I'm going to give you my daughter as a wife. Go ahead,
Verse 18. And David said unto Saul, who am I? And what is my life, all my father's family in Israel, that I should be son-in-law to the king?
Go ahead.
Verse 19. But it came to pass at the time when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given unto Adriel the Mahathlite,
right,
to wife.
So and King Saul backed out on his promise and gave King David's potential wife to somebody else. Go ahead.
Right. Verse 20. And Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David, and they told Saul, and the king and the thing pleased him.
So now he had another daughter, right? He had another daughter who had a huge, what do you call a crush on King David. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 21.
By the way, every sister at that time, young sister Elvis, had a crush on King David. He was the man. Go ahead.
Verse 21. And Saul said, I will give him her, that she may be a snare to him.
That she may what?
That she may be a snare to him.
Now, King Saul understood his daughter. He knew his daughter. And that's very important to understand. As much as she loved him right now, he knew her temperament and what kind of person she was. So this love is only temporary. And he's going to give her to him so she could be a snare or a trap to him. Right. Because what kind of trap? He's hoping that she is going to cause him to sin against God. Right. That's a snare. No other snare is going to work in this case unless the Lord is not with David. Right. And him knowing his sister, this sister, which is his daughter, whether she's materialistic, whether she has an evil heart, whatever it is. You understand? And that shows you how, well, that's a different topic. Different topic. For sake of time, let's go. Go ahead. What verse you up?
Still on 21.
Go ahead.
And that the hand of the Philistines may be against him.
Go ahead.
Wherefore Saul said to David, thou shalt this day be my son-in-law in the one of my twain. In the one of the twain.
Imagine your father giving you away as a setup to a brother. You understand? Like he's giving you away because he hates his brother. So you're the perfect person for him.
Verse 22. And Saul commanded his servants, saying, commune with David secretly, and say, behold.
We showed you the power of women. Right. Well, women has a lot of power because David's gonna love her. You understand? And it's just the Adam and Eve effect. Saul set him up. You understand? Because the Lord is with this brother. How can I take him down? Right. I'm gonna give him an evil woman. Right. You understand? I'm gonna give him an evil woman. I know this one. She's evil as hell. Right. I'm gonna give it to him.
And say, behold, the king have delight in thee, and all his servants love thee. Now therefore be the king's son-in-law. That's in verse 22.
Most High Christ.
With that, I say imagine, which means to stand. Wapoya Hakudam, which means turn and face the east. Okay. Go ahead.
You turn back this way, Salak. Right here.
Allah Yasha'Allah.
Saw, which means to turn. Open your eyes, which means turn to face the east. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Repeat after me. Abanawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Kodash. I.S.U.P.K. Yahweh. Malak of Ka. Daba'ah. Ratazai. I.S.U.P.K. Baratazai. Kawak. Bashemayim. The further now. You're welcome. Masalak now. Kabawaf now. Kawawafi now. Wala'ah. W.I. now. Wanna say one. Ball. Hawashai now. Mayan. Ra. Kaya. The cup. Hamalak. Waha'ala. Wahatapara. La'ai Walami. Aman.
Our Father,
which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. We'll do the Hakat, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Babakushah, the thunder now, Hakat, Na'Pa'ah, Ukamarawa, the Tahal, Hamatazarite, the Kap, Lahakri, Hamathli, Hakat, Arakawa, the Tama'ala, the Garashim, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, the Waramah. Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh. Please. Give us the power. The power to heal. All manner of sickness. All manner of disease. And all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the lepers. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahweh. Thank you. So be it. We're going to do Psalms 121. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Ahaharya, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'ad, Yahweh, I.S.U.P.K, Shemayim, Waratasa, Ayathan, Lamawat, Ragav, Al-Yanawam, Shemar, Anat, Na'ah, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yayashan, Shawamah, Yasha'alam, Yahweh, Shemar, Yahweh, Tazal, Al-Yah, Yamyaka, Yawamah, Hashemat, La'ah, Yakak, Wayarak, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashemar, Bakara, Yashemal, Athapashka, Yahweh, Yashemar, Taza'afka, Wabawa'aka, Ma'aitha, I will love.
I will lift up my eyes unto the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From Yahweh.
My help cometh from Yahweh. Who made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not slumber.
He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
Behold.
He that keepeth Israel.
Neither slumber nor sleep.
Shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh thy keeper.
Yahweh thy keeper.
Yahweh thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
Nor the moon by night.
Nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee.
Yahweh shall preserve thee.
From all evil. Yahweh shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out. And thy coming in. From this time forth. And even forevermore. So be it. We'll do Psalms 83. Alahayim, Al-Damaya Laka, Al-Takarat, Wa'al, Tashakwat, Al, Kayak, Hana, Awayabdika, Yahanna Yawan, Wamashanayaka, Nasha'awa, Ra'ash, Al-Imaka, Ya'ara Yamwa, Sawad, Wayataya Al-Tazapo, Al-Tazapo Wanyaka, Amaru, Makawa, Wanakakia, Magalia, Wala'ah, Yazakar, Shem Yasha'ala, Iwad, Kaya, Now Itazawa, La, Yakaba, Ayaka, Bayaf, Yakarathwa, Ahawya, Adawam, Wayashma'aya, Mala'aba, Wa Hagaria, Gabal, Wa Amawa, Wa Amalak, Halashaf, I'm Yeshabia, Tazawu, Gam Ashawu, Nalawa'a, Amak, Hayawa, Sarawak, Labanya, Salah, Aisha, Laham, Kamadia, Kasayal Sara'ah, Kuyapia, Banakar, Koyashua, Nashamatwa, Ba'ayan, Da'ara, Hayawa, Daman, La'adama, Shayatamwa, Nadayamua, Ka'ara, Wakasa Abba, Wakasa Bak, Wakata Zalmana, Kyle, Nasayakamwa, Ashar, Amaru, Not Yarashah, Nanawa, Na'awak, Alahaya, Shayatamwa, Kagagala, Kakwash, Lapanya, Ka'ash, Kaba'aya, Ya'ira, Wakala Haba, Kalahat, Haryam, Khan, Garadapma, Basa Irika, Wabasa Wapaka, Tabahalam, Mala'a, Panyaham, Kwalawan, Wayabakwashwa, Shaka, Yahawah, Yabashwa, Wayabahawa, Ayai, Wayakapara, Wayabadwa, Wayadaiwa, Kaya, Atha, Shaka, Yahawah, Labatka, Al-Yawan, Al-Ka, Al-Rataza, Amak.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
Be not still.
And be not still. O Yahweh.
For lo,
thy enemies make a tumult.
And they that hate thee,
have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel.
Against thy people. They have insulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come. Let us cut them off from being a nation. That the name of Israel may be no more remembered. They have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, the Israelites, Moab, the Agarim, Cabal and Amalek, the Philistines, the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also is joined with them. They have opened the children of Lot. Salah.
Do unto them
as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, to Ben, at the brook of Kishar, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nose like a rat. And he said, Yea,
all the princes that's above,
and that's the Muna, who said, Let us take to ourselves
the house of
the house of the Yahweh possession.
All my power.
Make them like a wheel. As a stubble before the wind. As the fire burning for wood. As the flames set the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy temper. Make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame.
That they may seek thy name.
O Yahweh.
Let them be confounded
and trouble forever.
Yea.
Let them be put to shame. That men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High over all the earth. So be it. We go through the blessings. Barakatah Yahweh. Wa Yahweh Shai. Wa Mayaka Allah. Wa Alahaya. Matazah Biyah. Alawak Yahanna. Ha Alawak Yahanna. Ha Suranya. Ha Quadrasa Yamya. Ha Kaya Yoya. Wa Wafya. Yahweh. Bahashem. Yahweh Shai. Wa Amah.
Blessed be Yahweh.
And Yahweh and Michael. And the angels. The manager of Yahanna. The generals. The captains. The officers. The troopers. And the sisters. Yahweh. And Yahweh. Thank you. So big.
Blessed be Yahweh.
Blessed be Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
All things living.
And all things living. Yahweh.
And
Yahweh. Listen to us now. Right now.
Evils and curses.
Send evils and to the heathens that speak against us, thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, at school, send the evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathens, and shake loose the treasures of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school, force their riches to enter thy sanctuary, send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the Edomites, to the nation, and the drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, the Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, Nazi Comitatus, gay movement, lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space program, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street, open up the internet, and the airways, the cable access channel, the radio channel, convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in our way or try to stop us from broadcasting your word throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues, cause them to go to and fro through the earth and consume them. Let the plagues shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahanna, Michael, and Gabriel come down with flying saucers and punish all the heathen that come up against us. As we speak thy word, let us be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread throughout the media, throughout the whole world. Cause it to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahanna. Thank you always. So be it. We're going to bless Israel. Yahanna, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Lanawa, Wayasha'ala, Wahabaya, Sapari, Barak, Rapat, Magun, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, the water Ahmad. Yahweh, in the name of Yahanna, please bless us, and Israel, in the school, bless, heal, shield, protect our loved ones, in the name of Yahanna. Thank you. So be it. Saul, sisters, you can have a seat.
Man of Israel, Israel wants to salute the Torah. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Barak. Yep.
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Barak. Yep.
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Barak. Yep. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Barak. Yep. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Barak. Yep.
And once you're in charge, don't be afraid to get closer. Sometimes we find ourselves leaning over because we're too far.
All right, men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Imagine Shabbat, Imagine Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Yasmutah. Men of Israel, Psalm. Sisters, go ahead and stand. Men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Imagine Shabbat, Imagine Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Yasmutah. Class dismissed.
Anybody want to get anointed?
Come to what?